And because I followed this mundane cycle, I ended up losing myself. Um, I just wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled with what I was doing because I knew that there was something more to do, or whether it was work or like what I actually really wanted to do. So um, I started the job in January and then I quitted the job in May. And don't worry, I didn't quit just out of nowhere. I had a plan, like I had money saved, so I wasn't just like leaving myself high and dry. But I will say this: I quit my job thinking that it was going to give me the opportunity to really sit and think about what I want to do, or to be more serious on TikTok, or whatever I really wanted to do. Like it was going to help me focus. But what I realized not too shortly after I quit, those first couple weeks were great because you don't have to wake up at a certain time, you don't have to get dressed, you don't have to like do, it's not timed, you're not time restricted, so it was fun. But shortly after that, I started to do other mundane tasks. As I said before, I a lot. So that kind of kept me complacent because remember, this is my first time in this apartment. This is my first time in my own place. So I was like, oh, I finally have the solitude that I've been craving. And it really just turned into me procrastinating because I was like, okay, I'll do this. And then I wouldn't. I'm like, oh, well, I was too busy thinking about this, so I'll do this. Or, oh, I just need to rest. And it was always an excuse on why I could not commit to the task that I told myself, or to the promises that I kept for myself. And we all, well, I don't know if we all know, but like, if you are unable to commit and keep the promises you kept to yourself, then it's going to be very hard for you to trust yourself and move forward. Now, I didn't know this back in June. Shit, I barely learned this now. I mean, June. I didn't learn this back in May. I barely learned it in June. And I'm finally at the end of June, like grasping what that means. But yeah, I just kind of like BS'd my way through it. I was like, I'll go out, like I'll do something to make me like, feel more out there. So I would go to the beach. Like in the month of June, I went to the beach. I went to Disneyland. I think I went like I was downtown LA type of tour thing. Like I took myself out of my comfort zone, which is good. But I always came back home to the same thought of, okay, now what? Okay, now what? Like it had these experiences and I thoroughly enjoyed them, but now what? Like what's next for me? And then it just seemed like that feeling kept pulling me and pulling me until I was in a sunken place. And I know like that term is funny to Black people sometimes, but it's true. I felt like I was on the inside looking out. Like I had no control over my life. And then that's when I started this YouTube channel. And I was like, you know what? I need to suck it up and I need to do something that I think that I really want to do. So I took out my journal and I planned out my first two videos, what I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna do, how I want to interact with it. And I posted those two videos, but when I started to promote it, mind you, during this time, I had TikTok. I had my TikTok since January 2023, and I've been posting all the way until recently when I deleted it. But how do I say this? I think the reason why I really felt even more lost was because I started to have my old family and friends come around me. Well, not old family, my family and old acquaintances come around me and start to be a part of my virtual life, not my physical life, my virtual life. And I got lost in this, like, no matter what I do, no one will support me. But then again, usually the people that support you are not the people that are around you. But so I know you probably this bitch is all over the place, but you know what? This is my page. You can leave if you like. The feeling of being alone, no, the feeling of not being fulfilled with the feeling of being seen but not being heard, or not being being watched but not being seen. There you go, that's what I want to say. The feeling of being watched but not being seen, and then just that underlining feeling of, I'm gonna be 25 and I'm gonna be nothing. I'm not going to have anything to my name. I'm not going to have, well, let's be real, no one's gonna get a house at this time, but like I just felt like a failure. And mixed with drugs, it just amplifies the feeling of loss and defeat. So I think I quit like the first week of May. So I had all of May, all of June, which is what we're in right now, and then I'm looking for a job right now, if I'm being real, because someone has to pay the rent here, and I don't have car insurance, so I can't do the fucking excuse me. I don't have a car insurance, so I can't do DoorDash or Ship or anything like that, because you need car insurance to do that, especially in California, because there's too many accidents that happen. But yeah, and it's like now I don't want to say I'm there anymore. I'm more on the, okay, let's do it, and it's like trying and failing. I'm in the trial and error right now. That's what era I'm in right now. It's the trial and error, ERROR. That's the era that I'm in, if you didn't get it. Man, I don't know what to tell you about feeling lost. I don't. I cried. I actually cried right before doing this because my phone kept acting up. And the thing is that, like, I really want to hold myself accountable, and I really want to hold myself to this standard of actually following through and not neglecting myself. Like, I was neglected my entire life. Like, I really wanted to do something, but I always make excuses. Except for right now. I couldn't get this video up for nothing because my phone kept being filled with storage. So I had to go through all of my photos and comb out all the unnecessary stuff. And I took about 2,000 photos out, but don't worry, it wasn't really important stuff. Trust, I made sure of that. If I'm being honest, I still feel lost. Because I really, really, really... I don't want to follow in the same footsteps that my mom and my sisters have. Because I feel like at my family, we perpetuate this learned helplessness and this victim mentality. And now my mom is 55 and she doesn't know how to properly communicate her feelings. She's complacent with where she's at. She's happy with where she's at. She's 55 and she's still working. She's probably gonna work until the day she dies, unless I get some money and put her in a house or something. But like, she's working. She has no plan for herself other than to keep working and providing for her children. And it's like, you can't be upset because she did the best she could for what she had, but like, I didn't have the best childhood, but I did have better than what she did. And I refuse to just be complacent with where I'm at, And yeah, I'm looking for a job and everything because I need money, but I don't want that job to be my end-all, be-all, And I don't want to look back at my life. Not even like 10 years. I would have to look back at it in a couple months and just think, wow, I wasted so much time. Being confused and lost and wishing that someone could help, but knowing that no one can really help. You have to save yourself. I don't know, man. And it's like, where do I go now? What do I do now? Like, I don't know if y'all know who Azealia Banks is, but she did well, if you like, you know, actually she's kind of like a cultural icon, so maybe you do know her, but Azalea Banks is a rapper from New York, and she's known for her very strong opinions. And she was in an interview with the Breakfast Club, specifically Charlemagne, who basically is like the face of the Breakfast Club. And he asked her a question like, you make music for gays? And she's like, yeah, I do. Now what? And that's how I feel. It's like, now what? Now what? I know I'm lost. I know that I need to make change and I need to move forward. I understand 100%. But it's like, now what? Because it's like, I didn't get it. I'm 22, I'm young. There's so much to explore and look forward to, but I'm alone. I have no one to like really, I have nothing to really look forward to. And it's like, now what, you know? This is my channel, Afro Yoda, and I am your host, Les the Virgo one. Period. I really was gonna tell you guys to, like, you know, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to, feel free, but really, I'm just trying to produce videos and just get out there. So if you want to comment, if you want to subscribe, if you want to like, I appreciate it, thank you, but it's really not obligated. This is really more for me. So this video is really going to be about how I went from being booked and busy and always going out and having all the friends and just being that girl to being alone. No friends, no social life, rarely goes out, and a chronic condition. And I know YouTube, you can't really cuss, so that's why I say, you feel me? But it's true. And we're gonna start off with how I even got to here, to where I am now. So back in 2023, I was living in a transitional living program, and it was like my last year. So I went in 2021, but then I dipped around like my halfway mark, and then I didn't end up working out, so then I had to come back, and they were like, okay, well, this is your second chance, but you can't fuck up or you'll really be on the street. So I was like, okay, sure. Oh, sorry, I forgot you can't cuss. I'll bleep that out. And I was like, okay, of course, like, why not? Like, I'm going to get myself together, no problem. And so I did. And as I was getting myself together, and part of being in the program, you have to have a job. So I was like, the first 3 months I came back, I did not have a job. I had to get food stamps. I just, like, it was very hard to find a job. But then I realized summer times in the desert is not their busiest season because all the snowbirds have left home because it's too hot. But right when it hits like October, late September, early October, that's when the business is going to start booming again because the snowbirds are going to come back in. But that is because because of that, I couldn't find a job readily. Until one day, one of the old directors of the program, she left because she had another opportunity, and she was like, do you want to like work for me? She's like, but I'm not playing with that like lazy stuff, but like you really got to work for me. And I was like, yeah, I like you a lot, so let me work for you. And it was a recreation job. I worked at I don't want to say the name because I don't want people like going and looking it up, but it's basically a recreation out here in the desert. And I went all over the desert just playing with kids and seniors, and just I had so much fun at that job because I constantly was meeting new people. I constantly was faced with new challenges, and I was able to experience things that I never was able to experience before. Before that job. So that was the January 1st of 2023. So I came back to the desert July 31st. That Saturday, or whatever the Saturday was for 2023, those 3 months, July, August, September, October, November, December, those 5 months, I didn't have a job. Until January, because I started January 11th of the recreation job. And I feel like because I had that foundation of constantly going out and constantly being exposed to different things, it allowed me to be more vibrant and more, I guess, just happier in general. It was easier to say affirmations when I know that I was going to be playing water fights with kids. It was easier to work out when you know that you're going to take your seniors on a walk down Santa Monica Pier. Like, it's easier to be lighthearted. So that's what I was. And I was so lighthearted. I was so happy. And then, and it was like that for the whole year of 2023. I worked that job, and because I was, again, exposed, I had so many opportunities, and I just had a good time. I had all my friends. We were just balling because I was meeting so many people. I was like, oh, girl, let's go hang out. Oh, girl, let's go hang out. And then I left the job. I left the job because although I like it, it doesn't pay well. And I was in the works of getting my my first apartment, which I'm in now. But yeah, so I was like, I need big girl money because I have real bills now. Like, I'm gonna have utilities, I'm gonna have rent, and then that's not on top of the car insurance, the registration, and the upkeep, and the upkeep for myself, the food I have to put in my refrigerator. So I was like, okay, although I love this job, I cannot, like, I need something with more moolah. So this was around November, December of 2023, because November is when I signed the lease. I applied for the apartment in May, but November is when I signed the lease because it's affordable housing, so, you know, the process takes a lot longer. So during, like, right around the December time, that's when I started getting antsy. I started getting excited because I was like, oh my God, my new life is going to be happening. Like, I'm going to be fucking living in my own apartment. I'm gonna be making my own rules because, again, I was living in a transitional living program. A program. They have rules, they have curfew, they have like all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I just want to be free. I'm 21. Well, I just turned 22. I'm 22 right now. I just turned 22. Like, I want to be free. And so I was such in a rush to get to this stage of my life that I didn't realize what I was actually putting myself through. See, the reason why I enjoyed the transitional living program, because yes, I had my job at the recreation where I was around people, but at the program, you also are around people because you share an apartment with your roommate, and it's obviously a person of the same sex, but like, every person that goes there, like, no one, so there's two programs, but we're not gonna talk about the other program because I didn't do that, but we all live in the same apartment complex. Unless you're in the other program, you don't actually live by yourself. So I was always with someone. And then I was finally excited to, like, have that freedom. And then it came time for me to actually move into this bitch. It was around, like, last week of December. I got my keys, and I finally, like, put in my 2-week notice a little bit earlier because I left that job December 22nd. So yeah, around the last week. So I left the job already, I got my keys, and I officially moved in January 1st because I went out on, New Year's Eve, and then I got fucked up, and then I came here with one of my acquaintances. And it was really fun. I had a good time. And then that's when it started rolling downhill. That's when it started going downhill because what I realized was that, okay, I got a new job that pays more, which is good, but it was an office job. So I didn't have, first of all, there was no windows in the building that I was in. So I didn't get to see light. I was stuck in this fluorescent room for 8+ hours a day. Well, not 8+, let's be real. It was a very strict 7 to 4 schedule, but like 8 hours a day. I did get a 1-hour lunch, so I used that lunch to, like, walk and everything, but, like, I'm stuck in this bubble. And then I go home. I'm exhausted because my job was, what was I doing? Basically checking people in, so I talk to people a lot. I'm exhausted from talking to people, so I don't have energy to talk to my friends or my acquaintances. And then I come into my beautiful apartment, but then I just go to bed. And then I stay in this cycle. And it's like I slowly started to lose myself because I was so exhausted and I was so tired. But I kept going because my rent was being paid. I was being able to buy things like a couch and a TV and a TV stand and like my bed and my bed frame. Like I was able to provide for myself. So I was like, okay, I'll suck it up. Like I don't really need to do the yoga class anymore because, well, one, I don't have enough time for it, and two, that's not gonna pay my bills. No, I don't need to go hang out with friends anymore because I'm too tired, because I just spent the last week being mundane and boring. Like it's exhausting. And so that slowly started to trickle into this effect of me hating my life, because I just was like, there's nothing for me to do. I work and I go home, I work and go home, I work and go home. And I started to isolate, because it's like I made a video about this that I'm gonna probably post later. But like I didn't mean to isolate. I didn't mean to like put myself in this bubble. But because I was in this routine, it's like, fuck. Oh shit, sorry. I'll take that out. But I'm just like, ugh, you know? So yeah, that is how I became lonely, by falling into that mundane cycle.